In 1992, the EU decided to take a new step in economic integration by creating the Economic and Monetary Union (EMU). A common currency, the euro, was created in 1998 with Portugal, Spain, France, Ireland, Belgium, Luxembourg, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and Finland. They were joined later on by Greece, Slovenia, Malta, Cyprus, Slovakia, Estonia, and most recently Latvia. These 18 countries form the Eurozone. The euro and the monetary policy of the Eurozone are a competency of the European Central Bank. The major objective of the ECB is to maintain price stability. It must avoid inflation and deflation. Inflation is basically an increase in prices. If the prices increase, it means you need a larger amount of money to purchase something. A similar amount of money thus buys you less than before the price is inflated, and the purchasing value of your money decreases. Deflation is the opposite phenomenon. Prices decrease, so you can buy more with the same amount of money. The purchasing value of your money increases. The ECB's objective is to prevent both these phenomena. However, price stability is defined by the ECB as an increase in consumer prices for the euro area of below 2%. Inflation must be contained below 2%, but nothing is said about deflation. In 2008-2009, the financial crisis spread to Europe. With the increasing budget deficits in several countries, including France, Spain, Ireland, and Greece, the ECB insisted on reducing these deficits to prevent inflation. Austerity plans and cuts in governmental spendings were implemented in countries that wanted to benefit from international financial help, for example from the International Monetary Fund. The crisis also meant that households consume less and that companies invest less. A demand shock leads in turn to decreasing prices. This is a risk of deflation. Now, what is so bad about deflation? Well, it can be really tricky to get out of it. Once prices start to decrease, the risk is that consumers and investors will delay their consumption and their investments, because they expect prices to get even lower. Lower demand logically leads to lower production, which leads to lower revenues and wages, which leads to lower demand, etc. This deflationary spiral worsens the recession. So how do we get out of it? Less consumption and investment means that there's less capital flowing into the economy. To encourage consumption and investment, one way to go is to decrease interest rates, or to make money cheaper. But when the interest rates start approaching zero without having the desired effect on consumption and investment, the only option left is to directly inject money into the economy. This is called quantitative easing. This measure, however, is largely unconventional and still resisted because of the potentially uncontrolled inflation that could result from it. Instead, the ECB has recently decided to reduce the deposit rate to minus 0.1%. The deposit rate is the interest that banks gain when leaving their reserves at the central bank. The higher the deposit rate, the more interest banks have to leave their reserves at the central bank. Changing the deposit rate thus influences the willingness of banks to make money available for lending. If the deposit rate is low, banks might find it more interesting to lend their money than to let it sleep at the central bank. Recently, however, banks have become so unwilling to lend them money that even a 0.1% deposit rate is not low enough to encourage lending again. By implementing a negative deposit rate, the ECB makes banks pay for keeping their money safe. The efficiency of this measure, however, is disputed. Inflation is still expected to be well below 2% by 2016. On the other hand, the European Commission insists that the risk of deflation is still low and does not justify to take stronger measures, such as quantitative easing.